Okay, guys, today we will study the new lecture 8, on Chapter 9, Capital Budgeting Technology. So this chapter we will study different techniques for capital budgeting. So when we are offered with different investment projects, we can use these capital budgeting techniques to determine which one is the best investment project, right? And we will focus on the NPV method, right? Net present values, and also the other investment criteria. So please refer to the chapter 9 on our textbook, right, for these lectures. Before we go to the formal lecture, let me show you something for updates of the COVID-19 in the New York City. Right? So this, this picture shows the percent of the patients testing positive for COVID-19 for different neighborhood in New York City, right, between March 22 and March 28. So that's for this week, right? You can see the color for different area, right? The darker of the color means the more percent of the patients test positive, right? You can see the more patients actually in the area of what Jamaica areas, right, in the Queens, and also the Flatbush avenues, right, in Brooklyn, right, and also this part, right, this part is the 402, is the West Queens, and 211, right, 211 is the Williamsburg, right, Williamsburg. So you can refer to this map, right, to determine is your area, right, is safe neighborhood, right, for COVID-19 or not, right? So even you're living in a light area, but also be very cautious and stay safe, right? And don't go outside. So let's go to the formal lectures, right? Before we go to lectures, let me do some comparison, right, between the three financial terms, right, we studied in these semesters, right? We studied a bond in the chapter 6, right? Common stock in chapter 7, chapter 8, sorry. And we now studying what? Projects, right? What's the difference? You can see this one very clearly, right, in this visual graph, right? The bond pay the equal coupon every period, and also you receive the face value on maturities. For the common stock, you receive what? You receive different dividends on different period, and you will not receive face value on maturity, right? But for the project, right? What is project? I mean, for the for the personal, we have our personal finance project, right? For your personal budgeting, right, every month. And for the company, they also have different financial products, right? So you can say they can do some projects either for expansion, right? Or they maybe purchase some new facilities, right? New facilities, right? Or maybe they want to what? They want to building a new what? New plant, right, in some area, right? All this one is called what? Called projects for a company. For example, for the Apple, right? They were designing, right? Designing what? Designing the iWatch. Right? iWatch is a new, products after iPhone, right? So it is a new project for this company. So while they are facing this choice of different projects, they will do some analysis, right? To first, they will forecast, right, the potential future cash flows, right? Then they will compare with what? Initial cost to track can they make a profit by taking this project or not, right? If the future cash flows generated from this project more than initial cost incurred at beginnings, right, they will take this project. If not, they will reject this project, right? they will do something different. So what's the similarity and what's the difference between these three terms? All the three terms have identified future dollars that must be considered, right? You must consider all these future cash flows, right? And all these three involve bringing the future dollars into the present values, right? We do a PV of all the future cash flows, right? And for these three terms, right, as investors, right, you need to determine is this one profitable or not, right? So you will always involve accept or reject decisions in form of what? Purchasing or not purchasing these identities, right? So if the bond can offer you more coupons and face value compared with the price you purchase it, right? So you will accept by to purchasing this bond. Same thing for the stock and the projects, right? You must compare with what? The PV of the future cash flows with their initial cost to say which one is what is bigger, right? To make a decision. What's the difference, right? Difference also very, very clear, right? If you refer to the previous chart we showed, right? The bond pays the fixed coupon payments and the lump sum face value on maturity. Stock pay what? Pay dividend payments forever, right? And these dividends can be in different amount. Projects have the cash flows, right, in a limited life, right? Most projects will last for 5, 10, or even more years, but they have what? They have a finite, time horizon, right? They have limited life. Coupon payments are fixed. Stock dividends can be changed or grow with the time. The projects are typically generated different cash flows over the years. With the bond and the stock, right, we try to do the valuation of these two financial products, right? Use the P0, the price and time zero, right? We solve the PV of the, the coupon and the face values, right? That's the P0 for the bond, right? We solve the PV of the future dividends, right? That's the price of the stock we're willing to pay, right? How much you're willing to pay, the value you can pay today is based on how much you receive in the future to discount it in the time zero, right? Similarly, right, our goal for these chapters, we will determine the present value of the projects of the future cash flows. Then we will compare with our cost at beginning to determine we will buy this project or we will take these projects or not, right? So we call this one as what? Net present value. N means the net, right? We studied so many calculations of the present value before, right? For these chapters, we add something like called net, right? Means the present values of the future cash flows minus what? Minus initial cost, right? The PV of the future cash flows, right? Minus initial cost will be the net present value. So this is the capital budgeting techniques we will cover in these chapters, right? Including net present values, internal rate of return, payback period, discounted payback period, and the profitability index. The first one, the most important capital budgeting techniques among all these techniques are net present values. Right? So this method is most important as a reference to determine you will take or reject this project. The definitions for the net present value is the difference of what? The PV of a future cash flow for one project minus what? Minus initial cost, right? The difference means what? Means subtractions, right? Subtractions, right? Means the PV of the future cash flows, right? Minus initial cost. Right? So based on these definitions, we have the three steps to solve the net present value. The first step, we will estimate the future cash flows, right? Then we will estimate required rate of return for these projects based on the risk level of these projects, right? So this required rate of return is our the discount rate, right? It's a discount rate bring your future cash flow to the time zero, right? Then based on this discount rate, you can find out the present value of the cash flows. You will subtract this present value, right? With initial investment will be the net present value, right? We can use some example to show how to compute this net present value in the details. Right, so this is the overall formula, right, for the net present values. It's the present values of the future cash inflows, right, minus initial investment. Right, so if you have the CF1, CF2, CF3, and the CFT, right, or any time, right, you will discount all the cash flows into the time zero, right? Then minus initial what? Investment on time zero, right? The PV of the future cash flows minus initial investment, right? Then you can compute what? Net present values. What's the meaning of net present values? Positive net present values means the projects can generate, right, more value compared with initial cost. So firm can enjoy the increasing of the wealth of the owners. Our goal for the company, right, especially for our agent, right, that's the the management team for the company, is to increase the common shareholders, right, the owners' wealth. So any project can generate a positive net present values, can increasing the wealth of the owners, right? So the NPVs are direct measure of how well this project can meet our goal, right? It's measured by the dollar terms. For example, in these examples, right, we have the initial cost, $165,000, right? You can see the sign for this cash flow is minus, is negative, right? What's negative means? Negative means this is one is outflows, right? So we have the initial outflows on time zero. We have our initial investment, right? We must be spending some money to start our project as our like a jump start, right? You need to have some money in the hands, right? To start your project, right? So this is your outflows. Once you invest in this money, you will receive this money, right, in the future, in the next 3 years, right? The first year you got what? $63,120. In the next year, second year, right, you got $70,800. Then the third year, right, you got $91,080 for this project. Based on the risk of this project, you are asking for 12% return, right, for this project. This is a required rate of return, right? So this one is your discount rate, right? Discount rate. You will use this one as a discounting rate to discount this three cash flow to time zero, right? Then use the sum of these three PV, right, minus this initial investment, right, to see can you generate more money for this company or not by using this project, right? So we will use this one as a discounting factor, right? Discount all the cash flow into times 0, right? 2 times 0. For example, right? For the time ones, right? Our cash flows is equal to 63,120, right? So the PV of these cash flows, right, will equal to a 63,120 over 1 plus 12%, right? So you solve what? You solve the $56,357, right? PV1, right, is this one, PV2 is this one, right? PV2 is solved, use 70,800 over 1 plus 12% square, right? You solve this one, right? For last one, you will divide by what? 1 plus 12% cubic, because this one on times 3. So we use 91,080, right, over 1 plus 12% cubic, right? So after you solve the discounted value, you will adding them up, right? You got total what? $177,627. That's your PV of all the future cash flows. So this is how you will get by taking this project. What's your initial cost? $165,000. Right? Let's compare these two amounts to see which one is bigger. 177,627, right? The PV of all the future inflows, right? Minus the PV of outflows, right? Is on the time 0, right? It's your initial, right? Initial cost, right? You can see the difference is what? Is positive, right? It's positive. Positive means what? Positive means our net present value is positive numbers, right? Your future inflows will be more than your initial cost. You generate a net present values, right, to be positive, right? So that means if you take this project, you can generate a what? More money, right, for this company, right? So you will take this project, right? So if the NPV is positive, the firms will earn a return more than its cost of capital. We will accept this project. In contrast, if the NPV is negative, right, we will reject this project. So in our examples we just finished, right, the NPV, right, is more than 0, is positive, right? So we will accept this project, right? It means the project can generate this money, right, for this company, right? So we will take this project, right? Thumbs up, right, for this project. How to use your financial calculators, right? We can use our multiple cash flows, right? Save key, right? The save key is on your financial calculators. It's here, right? Just next to the second, right? So once you press the save key, you will enter the cash flows in a sequence, right? By the orders, right? So we have the save 0, right? It's 165,000. So 165,000, right? Then press the minus, right? Then you can press the enter, right? Enter is here, right? You enter these numbers into the save 0. Then you move down, right, to the CO1, right? So 163 is 120, FO1 equal to 1, right? Then CO2, right? You will continue this input after you finish all the 3 inputs, right? You will press what? You will press the NPV key, right? Where's NPV key? Is over here, right? NPV. Press NPV, you can see the screen shows I. That's the discount rate. Discount rate is what? It's 12%. So we will press 1, 2, then what? Then don't forget to press what? Enter, right? After you press the enter, right, you will press the CPT, right, to solve it, right, to solve the NPV. NPV is the numbers you can see on the screen. So please double check this answer. Use your own financial calculators to confirm this answer is right, right? So you can see compare with the traditional PV calculations, right? NPV, right, is the PV of the future cash flow minus initial, right, outflows, or you can say initial cost. So this is the only thing different from the PV calculations, right? We need to minus initial outflows, right? We solve the net present values, right? For example, if you want to, running a business for a barber shop, right? Barber shop, you want to hiring some staff, right? You want to buy some what? Buy some shampoo, right? Some cosmetics, buy something else, right? So all these will be initial cost, right? And even you need to rent a store, right? Hiring some employee, right? So this initial cost. Once everything is set up, you will run a business to generate, some profit in the next month or maybe next year, right? So you will discount it all these future cash flows into time zero minus your initial investment to see or how can you make the profit or extra money for this project, right? So let me give you more examples, right? For example, Project A, Project B are two projects for the Bennett company, right? These companies are offered with two projects, right? Project A, you need to invest in what? $42,000. Then you will receive $14,000 for the next 5 years, right? For project B, right, you are required to invest in $45,000, right? But you will receive the different cash flows, right, in the future, right? $28,000 on the first year, $12,000 in the second years, then $10,000 in the next 3 years, right? So let's do the calculation for NPV. Okay? If you don't use the multiple cash flow key, right, you can discount each cash flow into the time zero, right? Then minus initial cost, you will solve what? NPV, right? For the project A, all these cash flows are what? Are equal, right? So they are what? They are ordinary annuity, right? Because they are paid at the end of what? Each period, right? So 14,000 as the payment, right? We have the 5 years, right? And the 10 as what? IY, interest rate, right? We will solve the present value, right? So what you solved the present value is for the PV of what? These future cash flows, right? So this PV you solved minus initial cost $42,000 will be what? Will be the net present value, right? Will be equal to the $11071 NPV, right? Let's follow project A, right? Because they are equal cash flows, we can use the payment right keys. Follow project B, right? All these cash flows is not same, right? For the first 3 years, only this part is same, right? So it's not very convenient, right? Use ordinary annuity, right? We will prefer to use what? Multiple cash flow key, right? Of course, you can also use the multiple cash flow key for this one, right? So for this one, right? You see, right? As we show in the last, calculations, right? We have the CF0, CO1, CO2, right? So what's the CF0 here, right? CF0, right? CF0 right here, right? CF0 equal to 45,000 and minus, right? CO1 equal to 28,000, right? FO1 equal to 1, right? CO2 equal to what? 12,000, right? FO2 equal to 1, right? CO3 equal to the 10,000, right? FO3 equal to how many? 1, 2, 3 equal to 3, right? Then you will press NPV, right? Don't forget, to press enter each time you try to put a number into the key. You need to press what? Press enter. Be careful, right? Once you finish this input, you press NPV to solve the net present value, right? Before that, you need to put the 10% as what? Interest rate, right? Then goes down to press CPT to solve it, right? The answer for project B is what? Is 10,000, right? And $9 to $5, right? Right? And which one is better? The project can offer you more monies, right? In the net present value, of course, it's better because this one generate what? Generate more wealth for the company's owners, right? So you can see in the comparison between the A and B, you can see the A project generate more net present values, right? So A is more valuable than B, right? So A is better than B, right? A is better than B, right? And if you want to use the save key for project A, right, you can also use the save key like I mentioned, right? How can you do that, right? So press the save key, right? And CF0 equal to what? 42000, right? Should be minus, enter, right? Enter, and CO1 equal to what? 14,000, right? There are how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So FO1 equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5. Enter, right? Then you press what? You press NPV, right? I equal to what? I equal to 10, right? 10, enter, right? Down, then you press CPT, you can see the answer, right? 11,071, right? If you don't use the ordinary annuity, if you don't use the payment key, you can also use the multiple cash flow key to solve the project A, right? So please try these calculations at home, right? Use your own financial calculators, right, to get familiar how to solve the NPV calculations, right? So I put my step also on the slides for these chapters, right? I will post the slides both on the what? Both on the blackboard and also on my course website. So please download this PowerPoint for reference, right? So these tutorials is based on a multiple cash flow key, right? If you still not know how to solve it, right, please watch the video I post for these chapters, right? And also, right, we know we have functions in the Excel sheet called NPV, net present values, right? So we can directly use net present values, right, functions, right, on your computer to solve it, right? I know you guys, right, always stay with your computer at home, right? So if you have the either desktop or laptop, right, near you, you can also use your Excel sheet, right, to solve it, right? So for a project, right, we will choose the NPV functions, right? So equal, right, you choose any random cell then you input equal NPV, right? Then bracket, right? In these NPV functions, first you want to choose what? You want to choose the discount rate, right? That's the first required rate of return, or you can say the cost of capital, right? You raised for this project, right? To conduct this project, right? It's 10%, right? So C2, right? Is this cell, right? 10%. Then you will choose the what? Be careful, only the cash flow, right? Starting from the 1 to 5, not including cash flow on time 0, right? So you choose this part, right? B6 to B10, right? After you finish NPV calculations, right, from 1 to 5, you will what? Minus initial cost, right? But this is already negative, right? So we will plus the cash flows, the outflows, right, on time zeros by plus what? Plus the B5 plus this one, right? So minus 42,000, right? That's how you solve the NPV for project A, right? For project B, same, right? Also NPV equal, right? Then you choose the 10%, right? Then you will select this area, right, from the C5, right? C5, sorry, C6, right? This one, right? To a C10. After you do that, after you finish that, right, you will plus initial outflows on the what? C5, right? So that's how to solve the NPV for the project B, right? And if you compare these two numbers, right, which number is bigger? A is bigger, right? So we use a conditional, conditional functions, right? If means what? If means if the B11 more than C11, if this one more than this one, right? So our condition is what? True, right? So if this one is true, it will show what? It will show the the project A, right? So it will show this number, right? If not, it will show another examples, right? So if this one is true, right, it will show the project A, right? If this one is not, right, it will show what? Project B. Right, you can see here, right? If this one is true, it shows the B4, right? If this one is what? Is false, right? It will show what? Project B, right? So that's our conditional, functions, right? To show how can you output, right? Which one is the choice, right? Based on the comparison of what? Net present values, right? The bigger of net present values, the better of these what? Projects. As for the first technical, that's also the most important technical. That's why I spend, most time for this method. The next technical called what? Internal rate of return. This is the next important alternative to the NPV, right? So NPV is the first important, right? Next is what? Internal rate of return. Because this one is easy to interpret, right? So many industries, right? The management, right? Sometimes they prefer to show this one, right, in their reports. What's internal rate of return? Internal rate of return is a discount rate, right? Make the what? Make the NPV to 0, right? For example, right, based on the cash flows given, right, from the time 0 to time t, right? You use a discount rate, and this discount rate can help you, right, to get NPV equal to 0. Then this discount rate is our what? Internal rate of return. So this one's our what? This one's our break-even rate, right? There's no actual loss, actual gain if you're taking this project, right? So our NPV equal to 0. That's the internal rate of return. How to solve it, right? If you don't have our financial calculators, it will be very tedious process, right? Including the trial and error, right? Many, iterations. Finally, maybe you can solve it or not, right? So it's not good, right? However, because you have the financial calculators in your hands, right? So we will prefer use what financial calculators and use our financial kits, right? So first, just follow the same step you did in the NPV method. You enter all the cash flows. Then you will not press NPV, you will press IRR, right? Then you press CPT. You can solve what? You can solve the number, right? For example, for our previous project, right? We just did, right? In the last, part for NPV, right? If you don't press NPV, instead you press IRR, you will solve what? 16.13%. Right? Because our required of returns in the question is 12%, right? Your internal rate of return is more than what you cost to raising the capital for this project, right? So you can generate a surplus, right? For this project, you will accept this project, right? So IRR, if more than required of return, we will accept this project. You can start with the same cash flows, right, as you did for the NPV, and to solve IRR, just use what? IRR functions, right? So you can press this icon and home, right, to enter functions for IRR on the Excel sheet, right? So I will not go to the detail for this part. Please try this one home. So we will use the same examples. We did for the Bandit company. Now we will solve the IRR for both projects, right? So you will, use IRR key all the functions in Excel, right? For example, in the financial calculators, right? You will, first press the CF key, right? Then you will have the CF0 equal to 42,000, and also what? Minus, right? Enter, right? Then CO1 equal to 14,000, right? And how many? So FO1 equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, right? Enter, enter, right? Then you will not press NPV now, right? You will instead press what? IRR after you finish this input, right? IRR, you can see the answer, right? Press CPT, right? You can see answer will be what? Will be 19.9%, right? This is more than required of return, 12%, right? In the question. Also, you will do the same thing for the project B, right? Price IR, you can get this one, right? Because the, A and B both return internal rate of return more than required rate of return, right, in the questions. So both projects will be okay, right, for these criteria, right? You can also try this one, right, in the Excel sheet. Use IR functions, right? So equal IRR, then select all the cash flows, right, into the bracket. Now we will not excluding the cash flow on time zero, right? It's also in the bracket, right? You want to make all the cash flows will break even, right? So it's including cash flow on time zero, right? Then you will see the answer directly, right? And you can see, right, which one is the choice, because the B project generate more return than A. We will prefer B project based on our IRR criteria, right? So this choice based on IRR method actually not the same as the choice we did, right, in the NPV method, right? NPV method, you can refer to the previous examples, right? We can see the NPV for the same cash flows for A, B projects. We choose the project B, project A, right? Now for the IR method, we choose the project B, right? So these two methods is not always generate a consistent decision, right? These two